Hello, I am live today with Mimi Donaldson. You are listening to the Health Coach Nation podcast, where we talk marketing, sales, time management, and mindset skills for coaches who want to grow their business, who want to be visible. And today we're talking about being visible through speaking. And the reason I wanted to have Mimi on the show is because she has been doing it for over 20 years. And she has captivated audiences from Fortune 100 to just the plain fortunate. She has done keynote speeches, compelling workshops, and in-house training programs. She also has shared the keynote platform with Colin Powell, Katie Couric, and Susie Orman. She is now a speaker coach for TED Talkers and is a keynote which is for business owners and keynote speakers. Since 2018, she has coached 28 speakers to the TEDx stage, and she has a bachelor's degree in speech and dramatic arts. She has a master's in education from Columbia University, and for 10 years, she was a staff human resources specialist with Walt Disney, and she's worked with other big companies. Her latest book is designed to improve the quality of how you present yourself, and it's called Pitch Perfect: Speak to Grow Your Business in 7 Simple Steps. So I am so excited to dig into this with you. And Mimi, tell me, why did you even want to get into speaking and helping others with talks?
Oh, that's a great question because a lot of people came to what they're doing now through other ways. I always say it's a straight shot for me. I know it looks like a straight shot now because hindsight is 2020. But I was a drama major in college thinking I wanted to be on the Broadway stage. And since I was a singer, actor, dancer, I thought I could do that. And then I went to one audition in New York City and I thought, no, I don't want to wait to be chosen. I'm a self-starter, but I didn't know that. So I went to Columbia University, got my master's in teaching, and I've been teaching something ever since. So first it was human resources, teaching managers how to manage. And then somebody in the class, I started my own business in training, and somebody in the class said, you should do a keynote. You're so funny. And I said, what's a keynote? And he said, it's that funny, pithy part of your training. And I went, really? And so I found out there was something called keynotes. And so in the 90s and the early 2000s, I was keynoting for thousands of people with famous people. I was the only non-famous one. And then what happened was in 2014, it was kind of a natural thing. People were asking me, can I help them with their speech? And I was saying, no, I'm just a speaker. And they went, oh, please, please, I'll pay you. I thought, okay. And so I became a speaker who coached a little. And then it kind of switched all the years to be a coach who spoke a little. And now I'm a full-time coach. Now I want other people to go on the airplanes and get those big fees and change the world through their TED Talk.
Love that. Amazing. So I have to ask, and let's just go back to that. For anybody who's like brand new to this concept, how do you define keynotes?
It's different from a breakout. If you've ever been to a conference, there's workshop sessions that are called breakout sessions. And then there's general sessions where everybody, all 1,200 or 3,000 or 100 people, whoever's at the conference comes to the general session. And they usually pick a celebrity to get the butts in the seats. And then they pick other people, if they need more than one keynote speaker, who are really good speakers. So I was on stage with people who were famous, but I wasn't famous. I was just a really good speaker. And it was word of mouth. I did a breakout session for some company, conference. And then the breakout people gave me great evaluations. And they said, you should do our keynote. And I went, oh. And so from breakout sessions, you get little money. And then keynote speeches, you get more money.
Got it. All right. So how did you also, you mentioned you are a speaker coach for TED Talkers and TEDx. That's a big deal. And that's something I think every speaker, like, their goal is to do that. So how did you get involved with that?
Well, it's a great way to get publicity. I mean, they don't pay you, you don't pay them, but you get a gorgeous quality video and it's on TEDx.com, but you also get it to use however you want. So the route to becoming a speaker, a paid speaker, used to be going through people called speaker agents. And they would, in the 90s and the early 2000s, they would take 25% and they would book you to the big companies. But nowadays, people go on TEDx.com, like the meeting planner from an insurance company or AT&T or whatever it is, and they scroll through and they put in keywords, of course, motivational, humorous, and they scroll and they push play and they see your first 30 seconds. So TEDx.com, TEDx is a great way to really showcase who you are. And you can also use clips on your website from the TEDx. And they have a TEDx in every town in the universe, in the world, not just America. And also they have it at universities. So if you put in your zip code and which are the communities, which are the TEDx's near me, they will, AI will tell you, Google will tell you. They will tell you, and then you find out when it is, when applications are open. And I love it because it's 15 to 17 minutes. And I used to have to speak for 40. Keynote speakers still have to speak for 40 to 60. And they don't get that people only have 15 minutes.
Right.
Time. But I love the format because it makes people be laser focused on what is their idea worth sharing, which is the TED motto. And what it depends on, people say, how do you get a TEDx talk? You have to have a body of knowledge, which is what you're going to speak about anyway. And if you're a coach, it's what you're going to sell. It's your body of knowledge. It's your content. And it's not very original. It's just that you do it a certain way and your personality's in there. And so they look at your dues paying activity, like what are you good at? What are you an expert? Not the expert, an expert. And then can you answer a need right now? So it's dues paying activity and is it fulfilling a need? And the needs right now of TEDx are very general. But it's things like last year, the big TED had humanity reimagined. This year, the big TED in Vancouver was all of us. So it's about kindness and community and pointing to a better world. And that's what they're doing right now. That's the topic they're getting chosen. So coaches are perfect for that.
Yeah, definitely. So it's kind of meeting the theme and bringing your body of knowledge and bringing your unique personality and, being able to apply for that. And, is it something where, as far as applying, I know this is something you go through with your clients and you mentioned to me, like, how to go and get a TED Talk or TEDx Talk.
Yeah.
But is it something where if someone's new and they don't have a book and, they are getting started, like, what do they need? What point do they need to be at for them to be like, okay, it's time for me to apply for, like, what do they need to have in place? How much experience, like things like that?
Wonderful. Wonderful question, because that's what clients, future clients or potential clients call me and ask me. Some people are ready after their book. So they wrote a book and they have to, they want to get it out there. So that's some people can start there. Other people don't have a book yet. I would say half my clients don't have a book yet, but they do have something that's valuable that they've been coaching people on. And so we write the speech from scratch, either before a book, after a book, before keynoting, after keynoting, whatever stage you're in. The submission, the reason that I've been successful is the questions they ask are only ones you can answer if you've written the speech. So I help my clients write the speech. We write it on Google Docs and we submit about halfway through the writing because they have to find a TEDx near them or community or branch out wherever it is. And the questions are things like, why is this speaker qualified to do this topic. So, if you're going to speak on delegation, you better be a manager who delegated for a lot of years, because now you've got content. And then they say things like, what are 3 takeaways? Every application for TEDx, and they're all different. It's the Wild West out there. It's crazy. Each one has their own little, attitude. But they all ask those 2 questions. What makes the speaker qualified? And what are 3 takeaways that the audience will get from your speech? So, for instance, you don't want to say positive mindset. That's not original. You want to put your spin on positive mindset. I'm sure, Hailey, you probably coach on it.
Oh my gosh. Well, you're speaking the same language of what do you put on your landing page for people to want your freebie? You got to put the bullet points about what are they going to get out of it, or your program, marketing your program. What's the outcomes they're going to experience? So it's not just, oh, you're going to get health tips, right?
No,
like nobody wants
can't
that.
Say that. You can't say that. You have to be very specific. And it's pretty cool because my job is to draw out those wonderful sentences that you might not have said before. And my biggest thrill is when I say, have you said it that way before? And they go, no. And I go, oh, that lands, because I get goosebumps. And I'm the audience. I'm the editor and the audience. And because I've had 30 years of audiences, I know audiences. So there's certain sentences audiences are going to go, really? I don't think so. And there's other sentences they're going to go, wow, tell me more. And you know those too, because in marketing, it's the same way. Some things will turn people off, like should, always, and never, and educate and learn. Boring words. Boring. And then there's other words, intriguing, and there's emotion words, and it's just, I can tell because people's eyes light up, and that's how I know they're going to love saying it.
Oh, yeah. I love that. And it's also, with the takeaways, it's one thing if you're applying and they're asking what are the things that people are going to walk away with and knowing how to do. But when you're marketing a talk, you don't want to say what the takeaways are actually going to be. You want to generate curiosity about what they are. So in other words, rather than saying you're going to walk away with my tip number 1 that I'm going to share in the actual talk is blah, 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 blah. You're not going to say that. The tip is, or the way you market it is you take something from that tip and you make it, what is it?
Yes.
Oh, I have to know. Like you said, tell me more. Like you're teasing it a little bit.
That's right.
When somebody comes to you and, you mentioned you put your own spin on it. What if they're like, I don't know what makes me that special. I'm like pretty basic. I teach the same things other coaches teach. How do you help them pull out that magic sauce?
Well, you're not like other people. I remember I wrote a stress book called Bless Your Stress, It Means You're Still Alive. It was my second book of the 4 that I've written. And I remember a literary agent telling me, oh, the last thing we need is another book on stress management. I mean, how much more is there to say? And I say, yeah, but I've got a 3A action plan. And I've got blessed you. And why is the stress a blessing? Because the only stress-free zone is a cemetery. So, there's a spin.
Ooh, I love that.
Yeah, well, that was our book, Bless Your Stress, It Means You're Still Alive. And so, there's your own personality, and it's shaped by your why story, which I'm sure you know about this in marketing, but it's always in your speech, a little bit of it. And it's, why would you do this with no money? You're not getting anything for it, but you have to do it. It's your passion. And there's always a connection. Some people have a real strong connection, like a mortgage banker client. She actually had a really hard time in one period of her life where she and her mother lived in a car. And it was a terrible period. She would never think about sharing it. But her mother always pointed to a house and said, that's what we want. The house is the security. The house, we'll get the house. And they did. But she's a mortgage banker because she doesn't want women to live in their cars. She wants women to be empowered to buy their house. And she's a mortgage banker. And so her target is women, but she's got that why story that even in 30 seconds, she can tell the basic connection she has to mortgages. I mean, people usually at 8 years old don't say, oh, I want to grow up to be a manager. But she actually found her calling at 8 years old. She wanted to make sure people got houses because that's the security that
Yeah.
she needed. Now, not everybody has a great why story like that.
Mm-hmm.
My why story is I thought I wanted the bright lights of Broadway and then the keynote stage. But what lights me up now are the bright lights in my clients' eyes when we come up with a sentence they cannot wait to say.
Mm.
And it chokes me up. It's a 60-second why story, but it gets me back in touch with why am I doing this?
Right.
I want people to find their voice and claim their power with their words. I only concentrate on their speaking. I can't do your marketing plan or your website.
Right. Oh my gosh. So good. So what about, you mentioned that in your book, you go through 7 simple steps to
7 simple
grow your
steps.
business. Yeah. So maybe tell us 1 or 2 of those.
Sure.
What's the step you think this audience really needs to hear?
Well, what you need to know, even if you don't know my 7 steps, is there is a way that audiences want to hear you speak. It depends on the question in their head. So I'm drawing a circle because it's sort of symbolizing that cartoon thought bubble in cartoons. And the first thing the listener is asking you is not tell me about you. That's not it. The first thing they're saying is, why should I listen to you? What's in it for me? So that's where step 1 is lead with the need. That's step 1. And I'm sure you say that in marketing. You've got to have in mind why the person would even want to listen to you for 5 minutes.
Right.
And that's
I love
step
that.
1. And step 7, of course, is the call to action. Because they're saying, ooh, what next? How can I get more of you? I want more of you.
Yes. Okay. Well, I want to ask you about that. So, a lot of times my clients struggle with making that transition to the call to action. And then they also rush through it because they get they're like, "Oh, I did so good on the other parts. Whew, now I can finally like let loose." And
I know.
So, how do they, number 1, just let's talk about transitions first. What are some ideas that people could do, whether they're doing a webinar or a keynote, and they want to now transition to their call to action, or how you can work with me, or how you can find me? How do they do that in a quality way?
Well, that's heavenly that you asked me that. I think you must have read my book. The 6th step before the call to action is the why story. So, for instance, the mortgage banker talked about when she was 8 years old and lived in the car. And then she said, so my mission is that women don't have to live in their cars. And then she transitions to the call to action. So let me help you. My mission is to help us be secure, have favorable financial futures, and feel safe and empowered. Let me help you with your mortgage. And then she says you can work with me in different ways. Now, with a mortgage banker, you work with them in one way. With me, you can work with a marketing speech, a TEDx, or a keynote. There's like 3 avenues you can do.
Yeah, I love it. Okay. And so the why story really could come into play. A story could come into play in how you transition. And then when you give the call to action, how do you communicate it in a way that people think that's valuable, or the next step is clear? Because sometimes too, people are like, as you said before, they're using words like that are wishy-washy. If you maybe want to connect, well, there's a couple options. Well, you could do that.
I know.
Yeah, and it's like, okay, what
I know.
am I supposed to do? So
I will pass on something I stole. You know, it's not really stealing. It's called research. I paid for a marketing course way long ago. Like, how do I market myself? I didn't know. And here was the call to action that was suggested that they used to market themselves. And I appropriated it for me. And so here it was. This is the end. I still love this call to action because it's so cool. Okay, so now you're in one of 3 places. some of you just related, what do I say? Some of you say, oh, thank you for the 7 steps, Mimi. Now I can do it yourself. You are a do-it-yourself person. Go with my blessings, buy the book for another $19.99 and, have at it. That's number one. The second place you might be in is you don't want to do it yourself. You want an expert to help you. That's what I'm here for. We will craft your speech. So please see me after this, or put your thing in the chat or whatever it is, and let's get a first date. The third place you might be in is you're not quite sure. You got some good nuggets. You related to me in a certain way, but you don't know if it's worth the money yet. In that case, I invite you to please have a 30-minute call with me to get clear and see if we're got connection and see if we're a match to work together.
Nice. Yeah.
I love that call to action because it excuses people for being okay. Do it yourself. Right. It's fine. Right. You don't have to, you're not going to fall apart if you don't work with me.
Right. Yeah. It gives the paths very clearly. And you even, before you went into the paths, you were like, there are 3 potential things that are, and you
places you could be. I mean, exactly. And it's so nice because now it gives permission for the people who want to do it themselves to leave the room. Because I used to do everything live before 2019, 2020. So now it gives people a reason to go back on their phones or do whatever they want to do. And then the people want to work with me right away. They get it. But the 30-minute calls are so important, as you know, because I'm sure you coach people on how to do that.
Yeah. Discovery calls is what we call them.
Yes. I used to call it discovery. Then I called it clarity call because you get clear.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then,
we rename them a lot of the time, but in the back end, the lingo we use is discovery call, but in the front end, we may use a breakthrough call or a clarity call or okay. The other thing I wanted to ask you is when it comes to growing your business through speaking, what is one of the biggest mistakes or missing pieces you see people go through?
Here's the biggest mistake. And I even wrote a chapter on this in my book. The only way I know to grow the business, because if people say they'll get you speeches, they're lying. Unless they are a company head and can book you as a speaker, you can't really, So if you do free speeches, I used to speak everywhere I could. There were Rotary clubs, there's chambers, there's all women's networking groups. Everybody needs a speaker. Some people need speakers every week. And it used to be really cool and you could get free speeches. Now people know they're worth something. They even want you to pay to speak for free in front of their group because it's not really speaking for free. But I always say there's at least 7 things you should ask for if you speak for free. And people don't do this. They just kind of give it away. It's fine. They're getting you. They're getting your information. You need email contacts for every person. You need to be able to advertise, to do a call to action at the end. Because if people are paying you thousands of dollars for a keynote, like they did me in my career, they don't want you to do a call to action at the end. You don't get to.
Right.
They bought 300 of my books to give to the managers, but they don't want you to do a call to action. So in the free speech, you have to be able to get the emails, do a call to action, pass out stuff, hand out, take away that people will have on their desk later and remember you by. You have to have people introducing you or make sure your bio is available to people. There's a whole bunch of stuff that you can ask for that's not money, but it gives you exposure and and you've got to be able to do a call to action.
Yes. Are we the same person? The first 3 things you said, I like whenever my clients are giving a free workshop or something, those are ones. The bio one, I didn't, usually they put that in their presentation, but I never thought of that. That's such a great, I love your take. Have someone introduce you.
Intro. Because you don't want to spend the first 2 minutes of your speech talking about yourself. That is not what the audience wants. The audience wants, we have a crisis in this country, and they're
Right.
18 years old, and they're foster kids who age out of foster care. That's the first three sentences of a very successful TEDx that I
Right.
coach, because
Yes.
she has a program for mentoring foster kids. So you
Yes.
don't want to waste time talking about you, and it's icky to talk about you.
Right.
It's icky. So you have an intro, and I swear it's double spaced, and it's always in my car, because what used to happen is you'd show up to networking meetings in the old days. And even now they're going back to in person sometimes, and they would go, "Oh, our speaker had an emergency. She can't come. Can you speak tonight?" And I said, "Sure. Let me just go out in my car and get the intro." Because
I
the
love it.
intro was always in my car and in my suitcase when I traveled. You never know. And the intro was kind of like the one you read out before I came out, because it's got the boring stuff. It's got like who you
Right.
were, where you went to school, and you don't want to tell that.
Right. No, I don't have my clients do that, but I do after our hook, after we get them all in and interested, if they don't have somebody introducing themselves, they have to have something that helps people see, why am I credible to tell
Yes.
you the tips I'm about to tell you? So we have a
Oh,
little
Hailey.
part where they say, like, here's why you want to listen to me. Because otherwise they're like, who are you to tell me this?
You are the same person as I am. Okay, because that's number 3, 7 steps. Number 1, lead with the need. Here's your problem. Number 2, here's my solution. Number 3, the audience is saying, well, who are you? Why would I listen to you? That's where you do the 2 sentences. For over 20 years, I spoken in front of thousands of people. You've got to say that, because I say to my clients, the reason we have step 3 is, just imagine they don't have the program. They didn't hear the introduction. They just slipped into the seat. They just turned on their camera. They turned it on for the first time, and there you are. So step 1, here's your problem. Step 2, here's a solution. Step 3, here's who I am. Here's why you need to listen to me.
Love
You're
it.
the same person. Yep.
Do you want to share 4, 5, and 6?
Sure. 4 and 5 are just the content. 4 and 5 are like, if you have time, it's like 20 minutes in a big keynote of an hour. If you've got a TED Talk, it's 10 minutes out of your 15 is going to be the content. Here are 3 takeaways even before you start working with me. That's the marketing speech line. Here are 3 takeaways. And for me, it's the 7 steps. I don't mind. It's published in a book. Anybody can see. It's no secret.
Yeah.
Yep. Step 4 and 5 are, here's some proof. Here's how I work. Here's how I work, and here's like what we do. And also success stories, if you've got time. Before she came to me, she was this. After we coached, she's that. And with your coaches, health coach, that's the best.
Yeah.
The best content is success stories, because real people getting real results from your health coaches. Yes. And then that's 4 and 5. Step 6 is the why story. And step 7 is the call to action. There you got it.
I love that. That's amazing. So I want to go back just briefly, if we can. You were saying that the speaking world has changed in how you get speaking gigs. So it used to be you just get an agent. Now I know
many agents call you. Many agents. You can't be exclusive with one unless you are a celebrity, because they want like a $50,000 keynote, or they want 25% of that. I was the 10 to 20,000.
Okay.
So I was like, yeah, but I wasn't a celebrity. So they want 25% of the 10 to 20,000. Gotcha. And so speaker agents, but now they're out of business. It's like taxis. It's now Uber and Lyft. We're going straight to the source. We're going to TEDx.com, or we're going to Google. Yeah. We're putting in what we want for that keynote speaker. And then it'll pop up some names.
Brilliant. Well, and when you mentioned Google, I know there's like some directories out there. One time, this is a funny story. I was on a directory. I thought I was going to, I speak in webinars and I speak on podcasts, but I'm not like doing talks all the time. I've done some local things, but I listed myself on this website that was for local speakers who could come in and talk about sales or marketing or motivation or whatever. And I was like, yeah, I'll do that. So I did. And my first year on the platform, I got my very first paid speaking gig was for a pest control company talking about sales and sales mindset and customer service, which is, I am qualified to speak on that, but it was a totally different niche than I normally talk to. But I had the mindset of, I can put this together and I can figure this
Yes,
out. And I did it and they loved it. And I got asked back this year.
exactly.
So, and then the funny part is I posted a picture or I posted about it. I got another speaking gig right away because someone said, "Oh, you do that?" And then I went into their company and I gave a
Yep.
talk and I tweaked the talk for their, people. But so it's funny how it works. So I think you're right to say, so would you say like directories and just before we wrap up, because I'm sorry I'm asking you so many questions, but
That's great.
speaker bureaus. What is that, and what are your
Well,
thoughts
they
on that?
used to be them. I don't think they're in business anymore. The only ones that are still in business are big ones like Washington Speakers Bureau in DC, but they
Okay.
want celebrities. They want a $50,000, $60,000 speaker. That's
Mm,
they won't even look at you. They used to look at you because I was a good speaker, but
okay.
not. It's much better to go to do your own videotape or do a TEDx
Okay.
or use people like you to get them
The
exposure.
Google.
Yeah,
Yeah.
get them,
Okay.
what you say in your thing, expand your visibility. Use
Mm-hmm.
Hailey to do that. There aren't any speaker agents anymore. I mean, they're just not doing it.
Okay.
So
Good to
get
know.
people,
Interesting.
yeah, it's just how you do it. And
Mm-hmm.
speak for free anywhere you can. As you said, they demand you because if you're good, and what I mean by good is if you connect with their audience and you
Mm-hmm.
make the meeting planner look really good, that one that chose you, then they'll say, "Do you have any other speeches?" You go, "Sure."
Right. Yeah. Yeah. Okay, one last tip for anybody who's getting started and they're nervous. And what if I
Mm.
don't know? What if there's a Q&A portion and I don't know the answer to the question off the top of my head? What if I mess up and skip a part? What if I jumble my words? What would you tell them to manage the nerves?
Here's what I say: 4 words that calm people down. It's not about you. When you're speaking, it's not about you. It's about the audience. The reason the audience goes like this when you're talking, smiling and nodding, is they're saying, "Yep, I know that. Yep, I got it. Yep, that's what I thought she'd say. Yep, yep." It's all about them. When they stand up at the end, it's not because you were such a good performer, it's that you made them feel a certain way about themselves and they're celebrating themselves, and that's why they stand up. So I always say to my clients, you're not presenting into a mirror. If you were, oh, am I going to forget my word? No, you're presenting to that person. And the reason that practice makes perfect is that you practice, practice, practice in front of audiences and get their responses and know what sentence was better than the other sentence, how you said it. And I say speeches don't even get good till you've done them 100 times. One speech. So
Yes,
just
so
do
good.
it. Speak wherever you can. Practice, practice,
Yeah.
practice.
And let it not be amazing the first couple times. It's
No,
okay.
no,
Yeah.
it's fine. It's fine. Just practice. In fact, yeah, I practiced on my cats in the early days when I had cats.
Oh.
And if I didn't have enough energy, they would just stand up and walk out of the room. And I realized, oh, I need more energy. Because if you have
Mhm.
energy, they'll sit there like this and they'll be listening.
Yeah,
So
I
energy
love
there,
that.
energy for free. Get people together, buy them dinner, and say, "You got to hear this. I have to go through this with you,"
Nice.
and get
Love
their
it.
feet.
Yes. Okay. So now Mimi and I are going to share our freebies of the day or how you can reach us or how you can connect with us. So you go first. I have a free gift for everybody, but tell us
Oh,
where people can
fabulous!
find you.
All right, it's really easy. You've got my name on the screen or whatever. MimiDonaldson.com is my website. Mimi Donaldson is my LinkedIn. So wherever you go, you can go and schedule a 30-minute complimentary clarity call, and we can talk about your speaking needs, whatever they are. I just love to get to know you, and you have a speaking need in some area, and we'll talk about it and we'll see if we're a match.
Beautiful. I love it. And Mimi actually lives in my old stomping grounds. She lives in Marina Del Rey, but you work with people virtually. But I
Yes,
went to school at Loyola Marymount in Los
right
Angeles.
down the
And
street.
yeah, so you're right down the street of my past life. And that's something we connected on when we when we
And
met.
you're right. In my past life, I was born and raised in Chicago.
Oh, well, there you go.
There
So
you
fun.
go.
All right. And then for anybody here who is listening and you heard me mention directories, there are directories for coaches, there's directory sites for speaking, and I put together a list of ones that my clients have either gotten hired from or they've gotten discovered from. And so it's a resource list of directories, apps, and companies that have hired coaches. And you can check it out at haileyrowe.com/resource-list. All right, Mimi, any final words of wisdom you want to share before we log off?
This was so wonderful. People are so lucky to work with you and know you.
Oh, thank you. Well, I will say the same about you. I've had so much fun talking to you. This actually went by so fast, and I have more questions I feel like I could ask you, but we're going to wrap up, and thank you so much for being here. I really appreciate it.
Thank you so much.